Hey y'all, it's time for a much anticipated laser update. As you can see, I've got it on the shelf back behind me and my computer station set up over here. I'll show you a little bit more in a couple of seconds. I've had several questions about the tube. The company did make it right. There were some bouncing back and forth and everything, but they did make it right. I'll get into that in just a couple of minutes. I'm also ready to let you know what company I bought from. I've had people asking for links to the one that I ordered and if I would do anything differently and what have you. And I'll get into that here in just a couple of minutes. But I do not have a new tube for it yet. It's on the way. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. I was going to wait until I got the tube, but I decided no, that's better left for another video. That way I can do a separate video on installing that tube. So that's out there for posterity should anybody be interested. So this is just an update as to where I'm sitting right now here physically at home, who I bought the laser from, anything I would have done a little bit differently, and my current setup right now. All of these K40 type lasers are about the same. You'll see some in blue, you'll see some in red. Internally, they're pretty much the same with a couple of exceptions. This is the unit that I purchased. As you can see, back in February 28th is when I pulled the trigger on it. And it is the Moforn 12 by 8 inch. I think that's how you pronounce it, Moforn. It had a fairly good rating on it at the time, and the price was right. And I purchased through Amazon simply because I knew that if there was a problem, I had Amazon there to back me up, just in case. If I had to do it all over again, however, I think I would have gone with the Orion Motor Tech. Now, you can see here there are a few cosmetic differences. You'll notice two holes up here at the front of the case. This is for adjusting the belt tension on the two gantry rails over here. If I go back to this, I do not have those holes on the front on the unit that I purchased. They're on the back of the unit. So it just makes it a little bit more difficult in my case to adjust the belt tension, but not, prohibitively difficult. Again, they come in blue and in red. The thing about them is they have made improvements over the years, and you'll notice this has an analog amperage meter here with a dial. The newer models have digital readouts that work in percentages of the laser output power, where this is an analog gauge that displays milliamps, and my unit is the same way. These are kind of preferred because it makes dialing the laser in that much easier. But as you can see, they come in red, they come in blue, and about the only difference in these two particular lasers is the color. The reason I say that I would have gone with this one is just simply the rating of the seller. This is sold by Orion Motor Tech, and mine was sold by Moforn. Something I did not know when I bought this is if you go to Amazon and you check out the seller's profile, they also have ratings. Now, this is the Moforn storefront, and I've removed any comments here. I've redacted a few things from these pages that are not important and not relevant to the discussion. But you can see here that over the last 30 days, 90 days, 12 months, and lifetime, they've had some negative feedback, a lot of negative feedback. and their customer service rating is not necessarily optimum. But when I take a look at Orion Motor Tech, not only have they had a lot more lifetime sales as compared to Moforn, their customer service ratings, we're looking at 1% negativity across the board. I don't know if you've ever looked into Amazon reviews or what have you, but people will give negative feedback for some of the silliest things, things that the seller had no control over, like shipping, damage, things like this. You know, when you've got a 99% positive feedback lifetime, that says something to me anyway. And another reason I would have gone with them is just for customer care and for a little bit more care in packaging of the product. A friend of mine, Steve Nealon of Nealon's Wooden Treasures and Harneal Media, bought one through Orion Motor Tech, and this is how his came packaged. It was double boxed. So we're talking about a box with about a 1/2 inch foam and another box inside containing the laser. A little bit more care in packaging than the way mine arrived. His exhaust tube was folded like this and placed alongside the exhaust fan, and not all collapsed together and shoved back behind the gantry, and the gantry shoved back to crush the hose like mine was. I've put affiliate links to the laser I bought as well as the Orion Motor Tech laser in the description of this video, and also on my links page on my website, marklindsaycnc.com. If you're interested in checking out exactly what I did buy versus what I kind of wish I would have bought. Overall, in general, they did make it right. They did take care of it. And that's the main reason I am going ahead and giving them 4 stars. Overall, the machine does work with the exception of the tube. That may or may not have been anything they could control. I think a little bit better packaging may have helped. But they did, in the end, make it right. They refunded me the amount needed to purchase a new tube because they couldn't ship me one themselves. So I will give them credit where credit is due. But if I had it to do all over again, I'd have investigated the sellers a little bit more, and I probably would have gone with Orion Motor Tech. The price difference is $7, as you can see, and to me, I think $7 is worth it at the end of the day. Something that's readily apparent to me right from the get-go is I need better lighting in here. Now, you can see by the little bit of light that's coming in, that crack right behind, right in here, is that it's pretty dark over in this corner. I need to get some better lighting in here so I can shoot video. But as you can also see, I've got my workstation kind of set up for it. I don't have the laser, the USB cable plugged in yet. I have plugged it in. I've made a few little tests, but I'm keeping it all unplugged just until I get the tube in here. Then I can set up a table, take this down off of the shelf because I can't get to the laser compartment with it there on the shelf to replace the tube. But I've got a good position for it. I got a good place for it. And this is going to be its forever home. The first accessory I'm going to be getting for this whole setup is a nice size fire extinguisher. Because, let's face it, this is laser. The whole point of it is to burn. Fires do happen, and I don't want to become a statistic. So a good quality fire extinguisher is number 1 on the list. As I said before in a previous video, I'm going to run this straight out of the box. before I make any modifications to it at all. I want to run it right out of the box and see how it goes. I know there's going to be a lot of work on it before I do that. I want to see what kind of performance it has now, straight out of the box, versus what kind of performance I get out of it by making upgrades here and there with an air assist, 18mm lens, and upgraded mirrors for it. That way I have some comparison and you have some comparison, and we can see if these upgrades are actually worth the money, or is it just, upgrading for the sake of upgrading so you can say you have it. There's a lot of that going on. So that's where we sit right now. Again, when I get the tube, I will do a separate video on putting that in. It's not going to be a how-to as much as it's going to be a how-I. Everybody's got different methods of doing things, and I've not even really turned this on and used it yet, so far be it from me to try to tell somebody how to do something. I'm just doing and learning myself. This is just kind of documenting my adventure. I'm going to have some successes. I'm going to have some failures, probably more failures than successes, but I fully expect that. Just taking you along for the ride so you can see what is involved in getting one of these inexpensive lasers, getting it up and running, and hopefully getting it cutting and doing some work. It's a lot more than just opening a box and plugging it in and pushing some buttons. There's a lot to be considered. There's a lot to do. So, thanks for following along with this video. If you got anything out of it at all, I would appreciate a thumbs up down below. And if you'd like to continue to follow along with my laser adventures, or my CNC adventures, or my Vectric software tutorials, I do hope you'll subscribe to my channel. But as usual, whether you subscribe to my channel or not, I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and y'all take care. But wait, there's more. The new tube just arrived. I mean, literally 5 minutes ago. So, now I can get this put back together. This is what I mean by care in packaging. Triple boxed, with lots and lots of padding. More on this later.